Welcome to the following presentation of the National Football League from CBS Sports, home of Super Bowl 35.
In the late 90s, the stock market had an unprecedented surge. Billions of dollars in wealth were generated. For the first 4 years, the Baltimore Ravens portfolio was in a bear market. Late last season, the Ravens stock turned bullish, putting up improved numbers and solid earnings. This year, the Ravens were rated a strong buy until last Sunday when they had a sudden sell-off, losing their first game of the season. Now, the Ravens hope for a 3-for-1 split. After today, it's the Ravens and Bengals. It's the National Football League on CBS from PSI Net Stadium in Baltimore. It's the Ravens and Bengals in an AFC Central battle. We'll have the opening kickoff for you right after this. Spectacular day here in Baltimore for the Ravens and the Bengals. 81 degrees with a chance of showers later on today. Gus Johnson, Brent Jones with you. And a look at the coaches. Bruce Coslett on the left. His team 0-2, lost 13-0 to Jacksonville last week. Brian Billick, his team 2-1, a 19-6 loss to Miami last Sunday night. Ravens have won the toss. They will receive the football. Neil Racker sending it away. And this will be Corey Harris from the 11. Harris with the seam, on his feet, and spins up to the 37-yard line. A return of 26 yards. Tremaine Mack with the special teams tackle. And Tony Banks, the starting quarterback for the Ravens, 8-5 as a starter the last couple of years, and they criticize this guy an awful lot here in Baltimore.
Well, we've been around the league a little bit. I think the fans in Baltimore ought to be very thankful to have Tony Banks. In the games that he started, 23 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions. How can you argue with that?
Last year at this time, they were pinballing Scott Mitchell and Stoney Case in and out of the lineup at quarterback. Banks very solid. First down and 10 from the 38-yard line. Out of the I formation, and he changes the play at the line of scrimmage. Here's the pitch. Jamal Lewis, his first carry at home. And he gets over the 40, up to the 41-yard line. Barton with the tackle. Let's take a look at the offense for the Baltimore Ravens. Jonathan Ogden, the big left tackle, one of the best in the business. Mulatalo, Mitchell, Flynn, and the veteran Harry Swain. Backs and receivers, Jamal Lewis, 5th overall pick out of Tennessee. His first start at home. Ian Badejo, Ismail is back in the lineup. Taylor, the rookie, as well as Shannon Sharp, the veteran tight end. Second down and 7 from the 41. And a whistle. Mulatalo may have moved.
Ball start, 64, offense, 5 yards, second down.
That is Edwin Mulatalo, second-year man out of Arizona. Defensively for the Bengals, they're ranked 9th against the rush. Oliver Gibson last week against Jacksonville, 2 sacks. The linebackers, Brian Simmons out with the knee injury. He's replaced by free agent rookie Armigas Spearman. And in the secondary, Carter and Hawkins with Williams and the hard-hitting Corey Hall. Second down and 12 from the 36-yard line. Banks the pass on second down into the flats. Ian Badejo wrapped up. It's the middle linebacker, Armigas Spearman. And that concerns you, Brent. Obafemi Ian Badejo leads the team in receptions, and you feel that Shannon Sharp should be getting more catches.
Well, you know, of course, being a former tight end, you always think the tight ends, but they didn't bring Shannon Sharp in here just to catch a few balls, and I think it's one of those things that Tony Banks has never had an outstanding tight end to throw to, and so he told us he's got to get used to looking over the middle and intermediate routes for the tight end, Shannon Sharp and Ben Coates.
On 3rd and 9 from the 39. Banks out of the shotgun, sets up underneath. It's caught. Priest Holmes on the hop and he gets into Cincinnati territory, a gain of 14 yards. Brian Billick talked about this during the preseason. He wants Tony Banks to not worry about taking the short passes. Banks loves to go deep, but it's okay to go short.
And when you got that strong arm like Tony Banks has, you're always looking to throw down the field. Watch Priest Holmes coming out of the backfield here. Get one-on-one matchup versus a linebacker. Linebacker can't cover Priest Holmes. Priest Holmes, one of the underrated guys on the team, and he's kind of in the back right now with the new first-round draft pick. He'll still make some plays for you.
From the Cincinnati 47, out of the pro set, here's Banks to throw on first down. It's caught. Shannon Sharp at the 35-yard line. Spearman with the tackle, but it's a gain of 12 yards.
And Shannon Sharp's just going to run a square out right here. You're going to watch Tony Banks go back 5 yards, right on the hitch, throw the ball to the square out. And Armiga Spearman, that's a tough job for a rookie linebacker to come in and have to cover Shannon Sharp right now.
And you talked to Shannon before the game about getting more catches.
And he said they were going to throw it to him early and often, and he said those were his two favorite words.
First down and 10. Very nice from the 36. The handoff, Lewis, and he is driven down. Michael Bankston gets to him first. Takeo Spikes there to clean it up. So the Bengals doing a better job this season against the run. They're ranked 9th. They only give up about 94 yards rushing per game.
You know, and the strength is their linebackers. You know, they lost Brian Simmons here for several weeks, and Takeo Spikes is going to pick up that emotion there on the defensive side of the ball, but they take pride in stopping the run. One of the things that they're going to have to do, though, is generate some pass rush because there's going to be a lot of pressure on this defensive backfield of the Bengals.
Priest Holmes, the single setback. Here's the inside handoff to Holmes, who submarines to the 30-yard line, tripped up on the play by Takeo Spikes. So slowly but surely, Dick LeBeau shaping this Cincinnati defense. Dick LeBeau, the father of the zone blitz, got some young players, and take a look at the numbers over the last couple of years and how they've improved.
And that's all you can ask. Just get better every year. More scout versus the rush, and you can see that, and that's going to really help them versus the pass as well. Then you can be able to do more things, take more chances blitzing the quarterback.
On 3rd and 4 from the 30, 7th play of the drive. Tony Banks over the middle, caught by Shannon Sharp at the 15-yard line. And there you have it. 2 catches, one a 14-yard reception, another a 15-yard reception for the future Hall of Famer.
And he told us early and often, you're going to see Shannon Sharp come right out here, tight end position. He's going to start out, come back underneath. That's a zone right. You see him push the defensive back right by. Nice job using your hands to get open, Shannon Sharp. And you talked about him going to the Hall of Fame. His backup here today is going to the Hall of Fame as well.
Ben Coates wears number 81. Travis Taylor, the motion man. Out of the eye, here's the pitch, Lewis. Jamal Lewis, first tailback selected in this past year's draft. Had a big 45-yard run last week against Miami.
And something significant about Lewis right there, you look and you see the Ravens in the red zone. They've got to get more touchdowns, and they think Lewis pounding the ball in there is going to help them get to where they want to be. They can't be ranked 26th. This is a potential playoff team. They've got to score touchdowns. Field goals are no good.
Ismael and Taylor split to the top of your screen. Out of the eye. Here's Lewis, breaks it back. High steps and is wrapped up by Armiga Spearman. Spearman, an interesting story. Young man out of Mississippi. And he did not have a chance to get drafted. Walked onto this team as a free agent and not only made the team, but when Simmons went down, he got the job as the starting middle linebacker.
He stepped up big, made a lot of tackles last week for Jacksonville, and it's got to feel good to be coming in as an undrafted rookie and make an impact your first week.
On 3rd and 7. Short drop for Banks. Underneath, it is incomplete. Threw that one behind Travis Taylor. Taylor still with an opportunity to come up with the grab, and that will bring on the field goal team.
And I think as the season progresses, you're going to see Travis Taylor making those catches. Been spectacular coming out of Florida. And it's great to get those wide receivers out of Florida and Florida State because they make significant catches. They already run a pro style of pass offense. They know how to run routes.
Matt Stover had a 30-yard field goal block versus Miami last week, snapping his 22 his streak of 22 straight. This one from 30 yards out, and it's good. Matt Stover is connected on 92% of his field goal attempts inside the 40, and he gives the Ravens a 3-0 lead. Tony Banks orchestrating on the opening drive for the Ravens as they went 11 plays covering 50 yards. And Stover capped it off with the 30-yard field goal. But for Brian Billick's team, that's not enough.
That's not a win right there. You want a touchdown. They talked about that. They kicked a couple field goals last week. They need touchdowns.
Stover sends it away. Tremaine back deep, averaging 25 yards per return. Starts at the 10. And Mack gets up to the 26-yard line. A return of 15 yards. Coming up, Corey Dillon, Akili Smith, and the Cincinnati Bengals offense.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. And by Saturn, now with two distinctively different car lines, the L Series and S Series.
And welcome back to Baltimore. Bengals take over at their own 27-yard line. Akili Smith throwing on first down. Flushed out of the pocket and incomplete. Intended for Peter Warwick. A flag on the play on the far sideline.
You know, Akili Smith is going to have to get rid of that ball.
And it's against the Bengals.
And it looked like they were signaling ineligible downfield, but that was a late flag. Looked like they threw an earlier flag. But that's what you've got to know, guys. When you're a quarterback, and I was going to say, on a three-step drop, you're throwing a quick out route. You've got, if it's not there, if it's not open now, you got to throw it away because your linemen are going to get downfield, and that one's on Akili Smith. Three-step drop.
Ineligible down on a forward pass, number 72, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And like I said, that's not the lineman there. Three-step drop, they're hitting, and they're trying to get downfield to get a block. So the ball either is away or he's got to run with it. You can't throw it after that pass.
Smith struggled again last week, throwing 2 interceptions against Jacksonville, has 4 interceptions on the season. The Cincinnati offense has only scored 7 points in 26 quarters. And Smith handing it off to Corey Dillon on the screen. Gets up to the 30. You talked to Corey Dillon yesterday about Cincinnati running more screens.
I did. I said, Corey, you're getting a lot of pressure. You're not throwing it downfield. You've got to get some balls throwing those screen passes versus the blitz.
And they gave up 5 sacks last week, 12 altogether. Rod Jones has been having a tough year. Backs and receivers, Corey Dillon looking for his first 100-yard game. Dugans and Warwick are rookies. And Tony McGee, the tight end. 2nd and 7 from the 30-yard line. Out of the offset eye. Here's the handoff. Dillon slashing through the defensive line. Gets over the 30, up to the 34-yard line. Ray Lewis with the tackle. Defensively for the Ravens, they're ranked 14th overall, 2nd against the rush, because they have Sam Adams and Saragusa in the middle with the sack master McCrary and Rob Burnett. Linebackers, the great Ray Lewis, Peter Boulware, and Jamie Sharper. And in the secondary, they've been picking on Chris McAllister. Dwayne starts the other corner with Winston and Harry. 3rd down. Warwick and Dillon in the backfield. Here's Warwick in motion. Short drop, Smith. And he holds the ball and goes down. Peter Boulware, the first man to get to him. Boulware had 10 sacks last year. That's his 33rd in his last 53 games.
Now, when you're playing this Baltimore defense, you got to know that they're going to blitz. Watch the middle right here on the right side. Boulware coming on in. They're getting all kinds of pressure up inside. Boulware coming from the outside. And when you take a 2 or 3 step drop, you've got to have time to throw the ball. Somebody's got to go out and pick up that linebacker blitzing off the corner because you've got to throw it right now. Warwick was open right on that 2nd step.
Daniel Polk stands at the 18. No pressure, gets it away. Jermaine Lewis backpedal, starts at the 15-yard line with a block. Lewis over the 35 to the 38-yard line, a 51-yard punt, and 18-yard return. Chris Carter with the tackle. One of the all Laurinaitis, the former Baltimore Colt. And he's watching the Ravens. Right now, we have a 3-0 lead over the Bengals. 1st and 10 for Banks at the 38-yard line. Draw play, Jamal Lewis. And Lewis all the way up to the 45. A pickup of 7 spikes, holding on to an ankle. And when you look at this guy, Jamal Lewis, the rookie, he ran track growing up in Atlanta. He told me yesterday, or the day before yesterday, that when he was a kid, he was actually slow until he started taking up track.
That's a great lesson for all the youngsters out there. They always want to know what's going to be the difference in getting into the college ranks and the NFL. Run track. Speed wins all the time.
2nd and 3. Play action, Banks. Plenty of time. Slings it out, incomplete. Flag on the play intended for Travis Taylor, who drops it in front of Tom Carter. And this one will go against Cincinnati.
Illegal use of the hands to the face. Number 21, defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Tom Carter used to play right down the road. He was originally drafted out of Notre Dame by the Redskins, then traveled to Chicago. He was picked up off waivers last year by the Bengals.
Tom Carter plays some solid intermediate routes. One of the things he's had trouble with over the years, though, is that deep route. Qadry Ismail out on the field again today after being out for 2 weeks with a knee, is ready to line up and take some shots deep here before this first half is over.
First down from midfield, and Oliver Gibson quick on the snap. A flag on the play. Gibson
on the quarterback.
And it's a false start against Baltimore.
And that's a case of Tony Banks thinking the snap count's on 1, and he pulls out, and it's really on 2, and he starts to pull out. The center feels the pressure, snaps the ball. Oliver Gibson going on the quarterback's knees. That's what great defensive linemen do. They read that quarterback. They don't look at the ball snap. That's how you get that big edge. That's what LT used to do all the time.
Gibson 4 years in Pittsburgh before signing as a free agent in Cincinnati. 1st and 10 from the 45. Banks to throw. Underneath, gets his tight end at midfield. Shannon Sharp. And he's back to the original line of scrimmage.
And Tony Banks had told us he's got to train himself to look for the tight end, but once he starts hitting Shannon Sharp, this whole offense is going to open up. He's done a nicer job this year of getting the ball out in the flat to the backs, not taking shots downfield. You got to open up that intermediate part of the field, and using your tight end Sharp and Coates, 2 future Hall of Famers. This offense is going to be really moving here in the next couple of weeks if he can start integrating the tight end.
Coates lines up as a wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. 2nd and 10 from midfield. Here's Banks. Finds Lewis, and it's incomplete. Spearman once again, this time in the flats covering Jamal Lewis.
And when was the last time you saw 2 Hall of Fame tight ends lined up on the same play? Both these guys going after the record books, and both spectacular guys. Had a chance to know them and play against them over the years, and what they do. Shannon Sharp, more of a finesse, get open across the middle, go deep, bend Coates. He can split that seam, but more of a great possession receiver using his body. And it's just, what a thrill it is to see both those guys in the same field at the same time.
3rd down and 10 from midfield. Banks out of the shotgun. Banks over the middle, caught by Lewis. Jermaine Lewis speeds down the sideline, picks up the first down. A gain of 26 yards. And we haven't called his name in a long time as a receiver.
And he's a young, quick guy that can make some things happen out of the slot. But the funny thing is, it looked great, but you're going to have a chance to see Qadry Ismail and Lewis right in the same spot. They're coming right across each other. Everybody was watching Ismail. Nobody was watching Lewis. And they run that crossing route, but they're not supposed to be that close to each other. There was a little confusion. Somebody ran the wrong route, but it worked out great for the Ravens.
Jermaine Lewis, primarily a kick returner and punt returner now in his 5th year out of Maryland. First down from the 24-yard line. Here's the delayed handoff to Jamal Lewis. Lowers his shoulder and gets inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. But when you look at the receiving core on this team, Ismael, Taylor, Patrick Johnson, Jermaine Lewis, it's almost as if they have a track team or something.
They've got some juice, as they like to say. A lot of speed, guys that can get deep. What they really got to concentrate on, though, is that intermediate range, because they've got to move the chains on third downs. They were the worst team in the NFL last year converting on third downs. That's where you need that intermediate receiver.
Second down and 4 from the 18. Jamal Lewis stumbling forward and gets to the 15-yard line. Glenn Steele, first man to him.
And you said it right there, stumbling forward. He's made a little too many moves. But what Billups says that he likes about Jamal Lewis is he always goes forward. He's always driving his legs. He always gets that 2 or 3 yards. You don't see him losing yardage. That's what kills you as an offense. He always gets those 2 or 3 yards like Terrell Davis.
Look at the time of possession, Brent. So far, the Ravens just destroying Cincinnati, 9 minutes and 19 seconds. They need 1 yard on third down from the 15-yard line. Inside handoff this time, Bruce Holmes, and Holmes gets plenty. Down to the 10.
And it's great to see Priest Holmes in there on 3rd and 1. You don't expect him to be the big power back, but he can do it. He can go inside, he can go outside. And the more weapons you have as an offense, the greater diversity you have, the more successful you'll be. We saw the Rams a couple times last year, and you didn't know who they were throwing it to. Everybody could make big plays, and that's why we've talked about the more you spread the ball around, this offense could be really something here in a couple weeks when they start gelling, getting used to working together.
Ravens very similar to the Rams. They have speed to burn. Now Lewis. And Jamal Lewis tackled from behind by Takeo Spike. And he picked up a yard on the play.
Now, where Jamal Lewis is really going to be dangerous is once you start getting him working on catching the ball in the backfield, running some screen routes, catching the ball in the flat and lowering his shoulder, going one-on-one versus a DB. Because if you can get that matchup, he's going to run right over guys and be making some big yards down the field.
This drive now over 4.5 minutes. 9th play of the drive coming up on 2nd and 9. Taylor, the motion man. Pitch, Priest Holmes. Shot down by Spearman. But he leans forward and gets inside the 10.
Omega Spearman showing us some speed. He did a great job. Lateral movement. And that's what it's all about when you're in the inside linebacker. And Oliver Gibson and the defensive line holding off those offensive linemen from getting out on the linebackers, and that's the strength of this Bengals defense. Let your linebackers be free-flowing. You hear that term all the time, free-flowing. That means no big old 300-pound guards in your face. These guys got some speed, and they can make some tackles.
Shannon Sharp comes off the field. Holmes is the lone setback, 4-receiver package. Makes the throw in the end zone. Touchdown. Travis Taylor, the rookie. Tony Banks limps off the field. He took a shot when he released the football, but he gets off on his own.
Tony Banks staying on the quick post route. Taylor getting the inside. That's what you have to do to be successful in this league as a wide receiver. You've got to beat that tight bump coverage, be able to get inside in the red zone.
Tony Banks, 7 of 9, 82 yards and a touchdown. And the key on the last 2 drives for the Ravens, Banks looking for his tight end, and that's opened everything else up on this offense.
And then you can't just double the wide receivers. You've got to be able to be cognizant of the middle, of the backs coming out of the backfield. Great job by Billick bringing in a lot of different formations.
And the extra point is good. 50 seconds to go, first quarter, and the Ravens lead at 10-0.
Tony Banks hanging in versus the rush, staying with this rookie wide receiver. Taylor getting the touchdown.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Rolling. Rolling, R-O-L-A-I-D-S spells Rolling. And by PSIMAC, the Internet Super Carrier.
50 seconds remaining in the first quarter on a hot and humid day in Baltimore. Ravens on top 10-0. And Matt Sober ready to send it away. Tony Banks lifts over to the sideline. Looks like he will be okay, however, as he chats with Brian Bullock. Tremaine Matt back deep. And this will be Matt. 1 yard deep. Matt loses it. Picked up by the Ravens. O.J. Brigance, the former Baltimore Stallion, he played here when the city had a CFL team. Now he's on special teams with the Ravens, and he picks up the loose ball.
Matt, one of the top returners in the league, center return. You're watching it get right on the arm. You got to be tight. Carry it with 2 hands inside. You've got that ball out there inside, and somebody lands on your arm. That ball is coming out. There's nobody strong enough to hang onto a ball when the weight of a football player is hanging on your arm.
Well, unfortunately, we couldn't see who got a hand on the football. So the Ravens take over first down from the Cincinnati 27. With a chance to blow this game wide open. With 40 seconds to go in the first quarter. Here's the pitch strike to Ismail. Incomplete.
And let's go back to that touchdown and watch the hit on Tony Banks. Watch Steve Foley in this pass rush move here going against one of the best offensive tackles, Jonathan Ogden. Little spin move. Outside, up, underneath. The ball's away, just a little shove on the quarterback. No penalty, but Tony got up limping a little bit. Maybe Foley stepped on his ankle.
2nd and 10.
It's a nice little spin move there, huh?
Not bad.
I used to have
It's like Earl the Burl. Earl played here in Baltimore for the Bullets. They fake the reverse, set up the screen. Priest home with a blocker all the way down to the 11. Spearman with the tackle. A gain of 15.
And the Ravens ran that same formation with Jermaine Lewis coming around for the fake reverse. And this time they've got the flow that way. Watch Mike Flynn get out, the guard. Go ahead and get out here. A little push right here. All you need is just flip somebody. Just get a piece. That's all you need. Little piece there. Priest Holmes getting out. The difference between a 5-yard loss and a 20-yard gain, Gus, just a little piece.
That will be the end of the first quarter with the score Baltimore up 10-0. We'll return to the Charm City right after this message. Start of the second quarter, Ravens on top with the football at the Cincinnati 11, and the time of possession all favoring Baltimore. 12 minutes and 28 seconds. Iambagejo and Lewis in the backfield. Jamal Lewis, the deep man. They give it to him straight ahead. Pounding his way, touchdown. Wow. Smash mouth football for the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow. Smashed Artrell Hawkins in the mouth, took his helmet right off. And Bruce Coslet, what do you do? What do you do?
That's 5 feet 11, 231 pounds. And he can run like the wind. A lot of people say he reminds him of Bo Jackson.
He's looking to hit somebody.
No question.
You see.
Extra point is good. 14:56 to go, second quarter of play, and the Ravens are going right at Cincinnati. 17-0. Jamal Lewis with his first career touchdown, and the Ravens send it away. Damon Griffin back deep, fumbles the ball on the goal line, picks it up, and Griffin spins to the 15, maybe the 16. So the Bengals take over at their own 15-yard line. It's getting ugly early here in Baltimore. 14:45 to go in the second quarter of play. Bruce Coslet, his team being outgained 144-12. First down from the 15. Here comes a blitz. They hand it to Dillon, and he's tripped up and goes down at the 16, maybe the 17 by Kim Herring. Don't wait. Get up to the minute results on all Olympic events and complete standings with the medal tracker, plus in-depth analysis, including features by CBS Sports basketball analyst Billy Packer. Just click on Olympics at cbs.sportsline.com. 2nd and 9. Been tough for the Bengals this season. Warwick in motion out of the backfield. And Achilles Smith is rocked. Rob Burnett got under his chin, and Smith is down. And that was a knockout shot. Remember, they're without their starting center, Rich Graham. Rock Gutierrez replaces him. Graham out with a knee injury.
And bringing Rob Burnett from the outside inside. He's a great pass rusher. Coming right over the center guard gap on a stunt. And when you don't have your starting center in there, watch out for stunts. The Ravens said they're going to do stunts today. Watch Rob Burnett right out here come underneath and get right into Achilles Smith's chest. The center's got to know. He went with the defensive tackle initially. You got to know a guy's coming back underneath.
Smith trying to shake out the cobwebs.
You hear a lot about stunts and dogs in the NFL. Dogs are blitzes from the linebacker. Stunts are lineman games. You saw the Sam Adams loop out. Rob Burnett come underneath.
First down.
14th sack of the season. And a penalty called against the Ravens on the play. So Scott Mitchell comes in at quarterback, and an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty was called against the Ravens.
And it was a clean shot. Looked like to me, Gus, I don't think that was the problem. Maybe they were trash talking, or maybe they stood over Achilles Smith when he was down. That's the only thing I can think of.
And the crowd greets Mitchell with boos. He was the starting quarterback for the first 2 games last year here in Baltimore. First down at 10. From the 30, Mitchell down the sideline. Incomplete. No flag on the play, and it's intended for Ron Dugan. Chris McAllister covering.
Gus, I think somebody was whooping after the play. I think one of the players must have taken off their helmet and was barking in Achilles Smith's ear, one of the Bengals, because you cannot take your helmet off on the field to play. That's a 15-yard penalty, unsportsmanlike conduct, and that must have been what was going on out there.
Smith, very dangerous play. Clint Steele has had a concussion already in this game for the Bengals. Defensive lineman. And up to the 35-yard line. Flag on the play. And it's offside against the Ravens. While they're marching it off, let's check in with Jim Nantz, standing by in New York City.
All right, Gus, Brent, good afternoon to you two. New England and Miami, Patriots with an early field goal, but James Fiedler, the Dolphins quarterback, rolls out, drives for Emmanuel, and he will roll his way into the end zone to give the Dolphins the lead. Let's go back to Baltimore.
All right, Jim, and the Miami Dolphins, a big 19-6 win over these Ravens on Sunday night, and they retired Dan Marino's number during halftime, and Hurricane Gordon was in full effect down there in South Florida.
Gus, something happened in that game that I had not seen with this Ravens team. They were manhandled on both sides of the ball, and they're taking out their frustrations on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengals running the football over the 35 up to the 37. And I think we finally have the penalty. Look at Saragusa. Tony Saragusa has O'Dwyer's helmet, and he rips it off and throws it down.
I think that's a penalty, yeah. And the only way you get a guy's helmet off is take it by the face mask and rip it right off. And we saw helmets off and we saw flags flying. We got it all covered now.
Peter Warrick lines up in the backfield, goes in motion. They give it to Corey Dillon, and he goes down immediately. Rob Burnett, number 90. Folks, he has been having a great season. He had a great year last year. One of the unsung players on this Ravens defense.
And, you know, Mike McCurry gets all the credit, makes all the big sacks all the time. Burnett is right there with them. Been a veteran in this league, played for an awful long time, knows how to rush the passer, has all the moves. You saw him on that stun hit Akili Smith. And he's really one of the unsung heroes on this defense.
So Daniel Pope stands at the 20-yard line. Jermaine Lewis standing at the 21. Pope gets it away, wobbly short kick towards the sideline and out of bounds. Inauspicious beginning for the Bengals. They're down 17-0.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper makes the world taste better. Fidelity Investment. And by Mitsubishi Motors, the 2001 Galant. Wake up and drive.
Beautiful day on the Inner Harbor. Not such a good day for Akili Smith.
And there's no way you let Akili Smith back in this game. You can't protect your franchise, your future. This line hasn't done it for him yet this year. How can you realize his potential when he doesn't have a chance to stand in there and throw the ball?
Ravens take over at their own 37. Banks, play action. Underneath, they complete through behind Jamal Lewis. Monday on CBS, it's an all-new Big Brother, followed by Monday's #1 comedy. Everybody Loves Raymond, followed by Survivor, then Family Law. It's all Monday on CBS.
Gosh, you know what we used to call these games when we played in them?
Scrimmage.
No, free-for-all.
Oh,
that was pretty good. Free-for-all. Now, right now, everybody's battling for catches. Tony Banks looks like he can do whatever he wants.
You want to get your numbers up here, right?
That's exactly right. Everybody's in his ear.
Second down and 10, rather, from the 37. Taylor in motion. Here's the play fake again. Banks. Oh, great catch. Ismael. Kadri Ismael, who injured his knee on the opening kickoff a couple of weeks ago against Jacksonville. Didn't play last week. He's back in the lineup today.
Got the speed to beat the bump coverage. Watch him come back to the ball. Little push off there. Falling down, catches the ball with his hands. That's one of the things that for young kids out there. You want to talk about how you get better as a player. Don't catch the ball in your chest. Work on catching it in your hands. Because if you catch it with your hands, nobody can take it away from you. And it's not bouncing off your shoulder pads.
Third down and 3. He picked up 7 from the 43. Need to go to the 46.5 for first. Banks to the sideline. Behind the J. Joe gets the first down. And right now you see these Ravens on offense operating with a lot of precision, Brent. He's spreading the ball out to a number of different receivers.
That's the key. Now, we'll talk about different guys doing different things. Look, there's Shannon Sharp pass protecting.
You sound surprised.
There you go. Hey, yeah, I guess you have to do it once or twice a game. I'm sure he loves that.
Spoken like a true receiving tight end. First down and 10 from the 48. Sam Jack and Lewis in the backfield. Lewis lowers his shoulder and rumbles down to the 46. A gain of 6. And he delivers a blow when he makes contact.
And, you know, he really plays with that defensive mentality. He goes looking for people to hit because he knows he's going to run over him. First contact at the 50, gets on down to about the 46-yard line. He's really got some aggression out there. Aggression and speed, that's a good combination.
So far, 10 carries, 41 yards. Second and 4. Tony Banks to the sideline. Incomplete. Intercepted. A flag on the play. Let's see. Tom Carter picks it off. But it's going to be pass interference against the Bengals. Oh, change that. A hold.
And I think Tom Carter's going to go ahead and do the old veteran, grab the one arm.
Number 21, defense, 5 yards, automatic, first down.
You know, Gus, something that the referees are doing a better job of this year. They're watching those defensive backs grabbing the arm. It's a veteran move. Watch right here coming out of the break. See that grab right there? You just grab his wrist. Because if you're late getting that arm up, you only have one arm and you can't catch. Ismail's looking for the flag. Carter's saying no way. But when we met with Jerry Seaman this year, he said the referees are going to do a much better job of calling that.
So far, the Ravens dominating in first downs, 11-1. Another first down from the 41. Tony Banks finds Janet Sharp. Get used to it. Bank to Sharp. Corey Hall with the tackle. This ball on CBS, the most wanted man in America, is innocent. Tim Daly and Michael T. Williamson star in The Fugitive. The chase is on, and the most talked about new drama of the season premieres Friday, October 6th on CBS. Penalty flag on the play.
Offense, 15 yards, first down.
Chop block called against Baltimore. Reese Combs.
And a chop block defined in the NFL. You can't be engaged with a player, an offensive player engaged with a defensive player, and then have another offensive player come and take a shot at your knee. Watch Priest Holmes come in. Watch him come in, take a shot. Once the lineman's engaged, oh boy. And there you go. And Harry Swain, and boy, that's a little, Harry Swain didn't look like he was moving out and engaging. Looked like Foley kind of ran into him. Kind of a tough call there. I know what the referees are trying to do.
So first down on the long 25. Banks sets up the screen as Lewis. Lewis sets it up. Lets the defense look at the first. And he gets to the 39. Loose ball. Darrell Williams laying a lick. And it's picked up by the Bengals.
Boy, watch Lewis running downfield. Tough to tackle one-on-one. And Williams hits him square with the helmet right there. A back slapper, and that ball comes loose.
Steve Foley picks it up. Ravens turn it over. Bengals have it at their own 38. Scott Mitchell and a quarterback for Keely Smith. He's out with a mild concussion. And Mitchell dragged down from behind. That's the 36-yard line. Cornell Brown with the sack. Third sack of the day for the Ravens.
And Gus, let's go back to the fumble, and you're going to watch Jamal Lewis full head of steam coming down the field. And the reason he takes such a big shot is watch him cut back right into Darrell Williams right here. He's going to cut back, and Darrell Williams will come over, running right into him, gets him flush. Boom! And that ball goes flying. I guess that's the old welcome to the NFL shot.
Williams played in Seattle last year, former All-Pro. And this play goes nowhere. Sam Adams, also in Seattle last year, gets Corey Dillon immediately, and a frustrating day for Keely Smith and Corey Dillon as well. Let's take a look around the NFL. Tennessee leading Pittsburgh on the road. St. Louis over Atlanta.
And it just isn't fair. Sam Adams, Rob Burnett, Mike McCrary. You can't block any of them. And we talked about it being a free-for-all on offense. It's a free-for-all on defense as well for the Ravens.
Dillon, 5 carries, minus a yard. Scott Mitchell. Down the sideline, intercepted! Ron Woodson. And Ron Woodson with his 55th career interception. And the Ravens take over deep inside Cincinnati territory. And that is his 5th career interception against the Bengals.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nortel Network. We're building the new high-performance internet. And by the Insider Pizza, new from Pizza Hut. Another one of the best pizzas under one roof.
Total domination by the Ravens. And that number, a perfect example. They take over at the Cincinnati 44. Banks looking backside. Goes down the field for Priest. Holmes! Incomplete. Holmes had a step on Spike. The ball, though, overthrown.
And we've talked about the offensive Hall of Famers for this Ravens team, but how about this Hall of Famer, Rod Woodson? Watch how the inside receiver is going to try to draw him out of his zone, but he stays put. Warwick is going to come under and come through. This is how you play zone defense in the NFL. Watch Rod Woodson. He doesn't get influenced. He knows the route's coming, steps up, makes the interception. Have you ever seen three Hall of Famers on the same team at the same time?
No question. And Rod Woodson has 10 career interceptions versus the Bengals. The most versus any team in the National Football League. 2nd and 10 from the 44. Here's the pitch to Jamal Lewis. Squares his shoulder down the sideline. Out of bounds at the 29. This young fella can move it. Choppy step. He picks up 15.
Watch the left side of the line. Push the Bengals defense. Ogden, Mulatalo, Mitchell. There's all kinds of pressure. Look at Ogden getting out and getting a block on a defensive back. When you've got 4 or 5 yards to get a full head of steam, this guy's going to be impossible to bring down.
At the top of the show, we talked about this guy. His special skills, 231. He reminds you of Bo Jackson. Can run you over and run around you. 1st and 10 from the 29. Here he is again. Little Bo. Down to the 21. I was in Baltimore visiting some friends earlier this week, and they told me that they're going to start calling this guy Little Bo. They say, hey, we got Little Bo on our team.
I'd take that. Watch Ian Badejo right up here getting a key block, kicking out, burying his man. And when you got a fullback going on and making some things happen, and I'm impressed with Ian Badejo. Catching the ball, making some blocks. You got to have a good lead blocker.
Priest Holmes in the game now at tailback. Here's Shannon Sharp in motion. Here comes a blitz. Picked up. Banks underneath to Sharp. Shannon still running. And he gets to the 14-yard line. Shannon Sharp. That's vintage Shannon Sharp right there.
That is exactly vintage. I've got a new nickname for him. He needs a nickname.
He does.
How about Captain EO? Early and often.
Early and often. That's what he told us today. Sharp again.
And you see Coach going deep, Sharp coming underneath. Who do you cover? And that really opens up, and it really plays right into Brian Billick's hands. You have so many formations. You got 2 tight ends, you got 4 wides, you got tight ends lining up as wide.
And as we learned earlier this week, Brian Billick has 8,000 plays. He's got 8,000 plays in his playbook.
8,000? Hey, you just need 30 or 40 good ones. But I can imagine with all those formations and all the things that he's got going on.
Coach Billick, he never looks happy on the sideline. He is always coaching such an intense leader on that sideline for the Ravens.
He's not happy because they just had 12 guys in the huddle, and they got penalized. And we talked about all the formations. That's a new one, too.
12 guys in the huddle.
Well, so many guys going in and out and split and flex and wide and wing. It's amazing.
First down and 15. Inside handoff. Ian Badejo. A lot of room. Gets to the 10. Darrell Williams with the tackle, but it's a gain of 8. And Miami leading New England at home. Tennessee on top of Pittsburgh. St. Louis and Atlanta. 2 offensive teams right now locked up in a good one. And the San Francisco 49ers, your former team, Brent, looking for their first win of the season against Dallas.
Yeah, it's been ugly there, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
2nd down, 7 yards to go from the 10. Banks goes to save Ismael. Banks put too much on that one, and it sails out of bounds.
And you know, one of the things that Tony Banks has done this year is when he goes ahead and audibles at the line of scrimmage, he usually looks to Ismail. That's his main guy. He's audibled a couple times today to some runs. He's audibled a couple times and hit Shannon Sharp. And so it's nice to be able to drop that tendency so teams say, hey, every time he audibles, he's throwing to his favorite wide receiver.
So 3rd down and 7 from the 10. They need to get to the 4 for a first down. Priest Holmes in the backfield. Staying in the motion there. Banks, caught, home, first down, at the 1. Tony Banks is pitching it today.
Great job of Priest Holmes knowing where that first down marker is. We've seen that the last couple weeks. Guys not getting enough yardage for the first down. If you're going to run your square out, run it a yard past that first down marker. And to just continue, Gus, to spread the ball around. That's why the Rams went to the Super Bowl last year, because they had diversity on offense. Everybody was capable of making a big play at any time.
In the red zone, Ravens knocking on the door once again. Handoff to Lewis. Loses the ball, but they call him down. They call him down.
Well, he's been Superman today, but now you've seen the ball come out a couple times, and maybe that's going to be something that teams are going to exploit. They're going to see the film. They know he's big. They know he's strong. They know he's quick. But how's he carrying the ball?
Oh,
you know what?
That should have been a fumble.
I think they ought to challenge that. That forward progress is not stopped unless they say they blew the whistle. Now, if they call that a blown whistle, Gus, the play is dead. No ifs, ands, buts, or challenges. But that was flat out a fumble. And that's what Bruce Coslet's saying right now. You better have not blown that early whistle on me. Give me a break.
Armigas Spearman poking the ball away. Here's another look at the play.
And his legs are still pumping. He's going sideways. That is a fumble. No doubt about it. And like I said, unless the referees on the field are saying that the whistle blew, which kills the play, that's Cincinnati ball.
And the officials are telling our producers it was down by contact.
And as much as these officials do a great job, that is the wrong call.
They missed that one. So the Ravens hold on to the football now at the 6-yard line. Bruce Coslet and company cannot catch a break.
That was blatant.
2nd down and goal from the 6. Holmes in the lineup. Ayabadejo the up back. Holmes the deep back. Holmes at the top of your screen. This is Taylor. Holmes. Takes up and is down at the 1.
Did he jump from the 5-yard line?
He thought about it. Don't try this at home.
That's exactly right. You got to have some line push to jump from the 5. How about the 4? But he was going in right there until Darrell Williams said, I don't think so, pal. You're not getting in from the 4. That's a vertical jump right there.
3rd down and goal from the 1. Thanks. In the end zone. Shannon Sharp has been in Tony Banks' ear all week. And you can see why.
And you know what? You can't blame him. He's not doing it for selfish reasons. Well, maybe a little bit. But he knows. He knows what it's like to play on a Super Bowl championship team. He knows what it's like to spread the defense. Darrell Williams gets some bumps. See, Darrell Williams had his best chance to be stonewalled Shannon Sharp right there. Once you saw that separation, stealing candy from a baby.
And if you look at all the great teams, the Niners with you, Green Bay with Mark Chmura, Dallas with Jay Novacek, Denver with Shannon Sharp. They had tight ends, they used it, and they racked up a lot of points. And that's what the Ravens are doing right now. 3:05 to go, 2nd quarter. Banks to Sharp again. 24 24-0. 3:05 to go, second quarter of play. Another nice drive by the Ravens, 10 plays. They eat up close to 5 minutes. Shannon Sharp with his second touchdown of the year. This is Rodney Heath back deep for the Bengals from the 5. Heath up to the 25, making the 27-yard line. A return of 23 yards.
Watch Shannon Sharp get a little separation from Darrell Williams, a good cover guy. Watch him drag his back foot after he lands. He lands with the front foot and same time kicks that back foot down right here. Watch that toe tap. Boom, in. Darrell Williams thinks he's out. He only got one foot in. The old toe tap. See guys chop their feet on the sidelines in the end zone? And the less used toe tap, Shannon Sharp, he knows how to do both of those.
Relaxing on the sideline right now.
3 for all.
First and 10 from the 27. Mitchell throws the screen. Here's Corey Dillon. Dillon over the 35 and the 37. Jamie Sharper with the tackle. Now coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report, join Jim Nance, Mike Ditka, Craig James, and Gary Glanville for scores and highlights and a preview of the Keyshawn Bowl. Much anticipated game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 3-0 and the New York Jets. Keyshawn Johnson, as you know, was traded from the Jets to Tampa, and in usual Keyshawn fashion, he has been running his mouth the entire week.
He keeps it interesting. That's one thing to run your mouth, but you can back it up, and he can. I just don't know if they have that passing attack there in Tampa to make it happen. And I think that game's going to come down to Vinny Testaverde, a former Tampa Bay Buck, having something to say about it.
Keyshawn is a newspaper man's dream. Headlines every day. So 2:37 to go in the second quarter of play. Bruce Coslett is dreaming of better days as we speak. His team down 24-0. Don't forget, coming up next, part of our doubleheader. Some of you will see the Jets in Tampa Bay. Others, Cleveland at Oakland. Second down and 1. Mitchell to the sideline, caught by Peter Warrick, and a first down at the 44. A gain of 9 yards. Chris McAllister with the tackle.
You've got Scott Mitchell, has had a couple of tough years, but he had some great successful years there with the Detroit Lions. He's a veteran. He knows how to make these young guys run some solid routes. He knows where to look and feel the blitz coming on, and he's going to go over and get a chance to talk to Bruce Coslett with a 2-minute warning coming up.
So with 2 minutes to go, the Bengals pick up their second first down of the first half. Don't forget, coming up halftime, the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Jim Nance, Mike Ditka, Craig James, and Jerry Glanville with scores and highlights. First and 10 from the 45. Mitchell out of the shotgun. Good time over the middle, and it's caught by Fitz Gross's fullback. He gets close to midfield. Ray Lewis with the hit.
Got to get on the ball, no huddle, signal the plays. The fans are quiet enough to make some things happen.
Bengals with 2 timeouts to go. Here's the screen, caught by Corey Dillon, and Dillon churning into the 46. Rob Burnett there to grab him. Meanwhile, down in Miami, Dolphins still leading. Tennessee on top of Pittsburgh at Three Rivers. And the Bengals call timeout. They have 1 left. Detroit on the road after getting pummeled last week by Tampa at home. Philly, a 7-point lead over New Orleans.
Nice to see Philly coming back, getting some good points on the board.
How far away is this Ravens team?
This Ravens team better not be too far away because they're spending $77 million this year, second to only the Redskins. And so you've got a window of time. There's Marvin Lewis. He's got a great group on defense. A lot of guys, though, in their 3rd and 4th year with Gus, when they hit their 5th year, they're free agents. They want a bunch of money. Marvin Lewis doing an unbelievable job, like you said, with that defense. But in a couple years, this thing's going to change because guys will be having big money dangled in front of them, and it's going to be tough to keep this crew together. And so their window of time, their opportunity is here in the next 2 or 3 years. They signed the big free agent, Sharp, coach. You've got to have to make it happen right now.
Third down and short from the 46. Here's Corey Dillon. Picks up the first down. And Dillon stopped by Mike McCrary. And the chains continue to move. Hurry-up offense being implemented now by the Bengals on the Ravens 43. Mitchell down the sideline for Warwick. Intercepted by Starks. Dwayne Starks gets up and starts running. And Starks tackled at the 15. The 11th career interception for the third-year man out of Miami.
And Scott Mitchell saw a shot, no safety on top. Peter Warwick going down deep. You might as well take your shot if you're not going to have double coverage. You got single coverage. Starks right there the whole time. You see Warwick coming back in, trying to get a hand on it.
And he's got to throw that ball, Brent, towards the sideline.
Outside. That's exactly right, Gus. Outside shoulder. You see the cornerback, Starks, has position inside. You've got to throw it over the outside shoulder. But Scott Mitchell taking a chance, and you can't blame him.
Mitchell with the interception. Minute and 1 to go here.
We are reviewing the ruling on the field.
And I think they're reviewing the spot on the ball, Gus. And when Starks actually caught that ball, it looked like he stayed in the end zone. He might have been declaring himself down. And then he decided to run it out, and maybe they're going to go back and look at whether he actually stayed in the end zone and declared himself down, or if he hadn't and he was able to run it out. Because when I initially saw it, I thought he was just staying in the end zone, and that's what coaches want you to do. No heroes. And his impetus, actually they're checking probably the spot, and what they talk about is his impetus, his momentum. Did that carry him into the end zone? So is the ball going to be spotted there on the half-yard line?
He was on one knee in the end zone.
Yeah, he was, and that's why initially I thought he was actually declaring himself down. But right now, they've got to be reviewing whether he went into the end zone. And there he is, and he was touched, but he did land in the end zone. When his knee hit, I believe that ball was across the stripe. And so, if he was touched after he caught the ball into the end zone, then that's a touchback. And they should have the ball in the 20. He shouldn't have been able to run the ball out. And so they're trying to decide all those things. We gave you 2 or 3 different scenarios, but those are all that's how it shakes down. And it really, for the Ravens case here, right here, you're just dominating the game. You're up 24-0. You're just going to run the clock out anyway, so it shouldn't really be too big of a deal.
Another look. His momentum carries him into the end zone. And did his knee hit at the 1?
Well, his knee might have hit at the 1, but I think that he had that ball across the stripe. Let's go back. Let's see. There's the knee, and it's tough. You can't tell from this angle. Is that ball across? No, right there. And remember, it has to be indisputable evidence to overrule the call on the field.
Let's hear Mr. McElroy.
After reviewing the play, the interceptor was touched. The ball will be ruled down with intercepting momentum at the 2-yard line. First down.
Wow, at the 2-yard line. Well, I know Peter Warwick was grabbing him and hitting his ankle, and they have a better angle. Those guys have a better angle down there. And you know what, Gus? It just doesn't matter. Because you snap the ball, you sit on it, and it's halftime. But here it is once again. Starks, nice job hanging on to the ball. And there's Warwick touching. There's the knee down. And they said he was down right there. And like I said, unless you have that angle right on the goal line, you can't tell where he was. Nice job by the officials making the correct call. Tony Banks should just sit on this ball anyway.
Starts with his third career interception against Cincinnati. He has 11 in his career so far. Here's a handoff. Lewis straight ahead to the 5. Corey Hall, the safety, with the stop.
Now that's some confidence in your young rookie running back because he's fumbled twice. They only called one.
And what do linemen like to do? Do they like to run block or pass block?
They want to run block. You know why? Because you don't have announcers saying, boy, that was a bad run block. But they say, hey, that guy just gave up a big sack. Offensive linemen don't want to be mentioned during the game unless it was for a nice run block.
So Cincinnati has one timeout remaining. Lewis again. To the 11. A big first half for Jamal Lewis. And that should do it. Jamal Lewis, 15 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown in the first half of play. Baltimore leads 24-0. Coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim Nance and company will have scores and highlights from around the league after this message and a word from your local station. Stadium, the halftime score, Baltimore 24, Cincinnati nothing. And 3 touchdowns in the first half for the Ravens.
Travis Taylor, you see, getting inside, running the slant in the end zone. Tony Banks right on the money.
Jamal Lewis
running over people.
And then your buddy.
You got to get the tight end involved. Are you kidding me?
And they are excited here in Baltimore. So the Ravens on top 24-0. Gus Johnson along with Brent Jones. Tony Banks in the first half of play, he hit 7 different receivers.
You know, and we talked about that at the top of the show. You got to get everybody involved. Your fullbacks, your halfbacks, your tight ends, your wide receivers. Then everybody on the defense doesn't know where you're going. You can really take advantage, spread some things out.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers from the first half of play. And Baltimore completely dominating all phases of the game.
Yeah, I'd like to say one of those areas stands out more than the other, but it's just total domination in the first half.
Time of possession, 21 minutes and 20 seconds to 8:40. So Achilles Smith knocked out in the first half with a mild concussion. Here's some leaders for the Baltimore Ravens. Banks, 14 of 20, 145, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And Jamal Lewis in his first start at home for the Ravens, really running the football, 15 carries, 69 yards. So Cincinnati will have the ball to start the second half. This is Matt Stover kicking it away. Damon Griffin back deep. Here we go. Second half underway. Short kick fielded at the 18-yard line. Griffin sidestepped one defender, but yanked it back the other one. Anthony Mitchell with the special teams tackle, a return of 10 yards.
Because this Ravens team was embarrassed versus Miami last week. They really were. When the coach says you were outmanned and manhandled, that's embarrassing for a player to hear. And they said this week was going to be a turning point game for them because the great teams come back and decimate the next team they're playing. And that's exactly what's going on here in the first half today.
Scott Mitchell and the Bengals take over at their own 28. Mitchell finds throws out of the backfield, squares up and goes down the sideline up to the 43-yard line. A gain of 13 yards. This season, the Bengals 30 possessions, 1 touchdown.
I won't even tell you what that percentage is, but it's in the single digits, and it's not pretty. And, you know, it's easy to sit here and criticize, but we should probably talk about what do the Bengals have to do.
Well, what do they have?
Well, we'll get into that in the second half, and you've got to start involving the backs in the passing game.
Here's the pitch. Dillon looking for an opening. He's tackled by Ray Lewis. Lewis grabs his left knee. Has to be helped up by Rob Burnett. So you say you want to see Cincinnati involved their backs in the passing game?
Yeah, that's the first thing. You saw Cliff Gross on the play before that get 8 or 9 yards up the field, big play. You saw Corey Dillon today on a couple of their positive plays have been screen passes to Corey Dillon. Get him the ball in his hands and get him some free running room instead of it all mished up there inside.
Last week, Dillon 17 carries, 32 yards. This week, 7 carries, 3 yards. Second and 10 from the 42. Mitchell underneath. Warwick makes the grab at the 48-yard line in front of Jamie Sharper. He picks up 7 yards. Peter Warwick has dropped 6 passes in 2 games. Last week he had 5 catches for 75 yards against Jacksonville. And we have been told that Akili Smith is officially out for the rest of the game. So Scott Mitchell will go the distance. Third down and 3 from the 49. Empty backfield. Mitchell finds Dugan, picks up the first at the 45. It's the third first down of the game for the Bengals. The first one they got because of an unsportsmanlike penalty. And the second one they picked up with 2 minutes to go in the first half of play.
A couple nice catches by the rookie receivers. Scott Mitchell throwing the ball a little behind. Both Dugans and Warwick both doing a nice job of turning their hips, getting open, keep catching the ball with their hands with the ball being away from them.
Scott Mitchell led the Lions to 3 playoff appearances, 94, 95, and 97. He's under pressure, fumbles it all. It's loose and live, and let's see. The Ravens pick it up. The 4th turnover of the game. Tony Siragusa.
And that's all Rob Burnett. Again, coming from the backside, right in Scott Mitchell's face.
Back to Baltimore after this. Burnett with his 4th sack of the season. He has 2 in this game. And the Ravens take over inside Cincinnati territory. Jermaine Lewis, the motion man. They fake the reverse. Banks sets up deep in the pocket, down the sideline for Taylor, incomplete. Artrell Hawkins covering. That ball underthrown.
Gus, in the NFL, it's the little things. Watch Willie Anderson, the tackle here, versus Rob Burnett. Watch his footwork. You've got to set your foot back. Get back here. Lose ground. He stepped even. Stepping up. Burnett's already got a step by you. That's bad technique. That gets you beat every time on the speed rush. Burnett has the speed. We already saw him take a shot and put Akili Smith out of the game. Lucky Scott Mitchell's still standing.
And so far, the Bengals have given up 16 sacks on the season. Draw play, Lewis knifing through the Cincinnati defense. Jamal Lewis a gain of 10. Other scores, Miami holding on by 7 over New England at home. Bill Belichick off to a rough start in New England, 0-3.
I'd say that's a rough start. Atlanta hanging tough versus the Rams.
And don't forget, coming up next, the big game here on CBS. It's the Jets and Tampa Bay. Keyshawn Johnson against his former team, the New York Jets. And he'll have a chance to stare Wayne Corbett in the eye. And Al's Rowe, he said he'll refuse to shake his hand. So a lot of interesting subplots for Greg Gumbel and Phil Simms in Tampa.
Yeah, I don't get that refuse to shake guys' hands. And Wayne Corbett, Keyshawn should be happy he plays Wayne Corbett because Corbett was a threat. That rhymes, but you know, it took some of the focus off Keyshawn all the time. Why do you hate a guy for being good?
Word master. Corbett was a threat. Very nice.
I didn't play it.
Third down and inches. Ian Badejo in the backfield. They give it to him straight ahead, and he picks up the first. Corey Hall, the safety, with the tackle. And that Corey Hall, number 26 for Cincinnati, he puts some hits on opponents. The young man can really step up and hit out of Fresno State. Log on to NFL.com and track your favorite players with up-to-the-minute stats. It's all at NFL.com. As a matter of fact, Corey Hall. He hits like a guy, a fictitious guy, Bobby Boucher.
The water boy.
The water boy. He comes up and nails you. So Corey Hall, better known as Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, he liked that when we were talking about
it. Oh, yeah. I told him we were going to get that on. And they are short of the first down, courtesy of the nice stick by Hall. Here is Corey Hall. Better known as Bobby Boucher, 6 feet, 210. Told me he gained 5 extra pounds. He's at 215 now. Out of Fresno, always trying to get respect coming from the smaller Fresno State.
You know, we better be careful. We're dropping nicknames all over the place today.
Okay.
But we're making them up because they're very fitting.
It's 24-0 in the third quarter. Fourth down and short from the 38. And they went straight ahead in the third quarter, rather, and a flag on the play.
And it looked like we might have some movement here on the left side of the Ravens offensive line. Maybe it was head bob. There you go. Well, we got a double shot. We got it decided.
Illegal motion on the setback. Offside 95 defense. Penalties offset, fourth down.
There we go. Play it over.
So they'll do it again. Ben Coates comes into the game. Some size on the offensive line at tight end.
Guys, I got to be honest with you. You give the ball to Jamal Lewis, I don't think that he's not going to lean forward for a half a yard, no matter what happens.
He's the deep man. Here's Lewis. Leans forward. And it's close. It is very close. He may not have gotten it.
Well, I'm still betting on him. And Takeo Spikes came in. And how many helmets has Jamal Lewis knocked off today?
A couple. 3 helmets already.
And I don't think he made it.
So a nice stand by the Cincinnati defense. 10:46 to go. Third quarter of play. Bengals with it when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. The all-new Honda Civic, amazing but true. And by IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level.
And a whistle. Saragusa may have jumped offside.
Encroachment, number 98, defense. 5 yards, first down.
Hey guys, I went on and on about Jamal Lewis will get the first down. Watch Takeo Spikes making me look bad. He's going to take a shot at Edwin Mulatalo, the left guard, drive him 3 yards into the backfield, and then make the play. Look at that. Steamroller, roll right over him. And when Brian Bill talked last week about the offensive and defensive lines getting manhandled, that's what you call getting manhandled.
Takeo loses his helmet and all. Now Corey Dillon over the 45 to the 47. Mike McCrary with the tackle.
And we talked about what the Bengals need to do. You got to stay with Corey Dillon. You got to get him in the flow. His offensive line isn't coming off great. They aren't coming off as a unit. We talked about getting the ball to the backs, and you're going to hear it from me all year. Tony McGee is a good receiving tight end in this league. Use your tight end.
Warwick in motion. Play action Mitchell. Finds throws, chopped down. Nice play, Herring. The strong safety coming up. Jim Herring played tailback his freshman year for Joe Paterno at Penn State, then transferred over to the defensive side. And Corey Dillon, who's had 3 consecutive 1,100-yard seasons, this one not a good start. 8 carries, 6 yards, and he's remained calm. We talked about team. He's kind of always struggled, however, against the Ravens, averaging 62 yards. Has never scored a rushing touchdown. This Baltimore defense They have not given up a 100-yard rusher in 19 games. Looking for number 20 today.
In Corey Dillon's defense, there's just too much penetration into his offensive backfield from the teams that they've played this year, and he can't get started. You guys are getting no movement. There's no holes. Corey Dillon, a slashing cutback runner. There's nowhere to cut back. It's just a mass of purple jerseys in his face.
Third down and 1 from the 47. Ravens defense trying to return the favor. Here's the play fake. Mitchell rolling. Throws on the run. Almost intercepted. McAllister had it in his hand. Couldn't hold on.
That's what they call gimme. They throw that, the ball's just floating right up there, Chris McAllister. See, when you roll the other way, Scott Mitchell rolling out to his right, you got to throw across your body. That means the ball's going to float longer. In the air, Chris McAllister, easy interception, up.
And Bruce Coslett deciding to go for it. 9:43 to go, third quarter. They need a yard. Inside handoff, throws, will not get there. He will not get there. Things have gone from bad to worse for the Bengals.
I think they've gone from worse to worse.
Exactly. Tony Siragusa in on the play, and the Ravens will take over inside Cincinnati territory.
And you see Siragusa take Brock Gutierrez right into the backfield. Foot throw, trips right over his foot and goes down.
39 remaining in the third quarter of play. Ravens lead it 24-0. They have the ball at the Cincinnati 47-yard line. Jamal Lewis, the deep back. To the sideline, Taylor with the catch. And he's dragged on by Artrell Hawkins, but he picks up about 4.5. Tonight on 60 Minutes, how did Baku in the former Soviet Union get to be an American boomtown? It's the oil. Find oil, and you'll find American oil men. Tonight on 60 Minutes. Second and 5. Banks under center. Lewis. And Jamal Lewis gets inside the 40-yard line. Jamal Lewis left college early, played only 4 games as a sophomore at Tennessee, had a knee injury. Last week, 9 carries, 76 yards, had a 45-yard burst, and he was doing it rather, Brent, in the mud on the infield down in Florida. Today he's got 18 carries, 80 yards.
Being from Tennessee, you know who his favorite player is?
Who's that?
Eddie George.
Eddie George.
Get a chance to play him head-to-head here pretty soon.
Banks to Lewis, breaks it back, and a burst of speed gets to the 33. Thing about it is, I think he's a little quicker than Eddie George.
You know, it was great right there to sit and watch Tony Banks go through his progressions. He went through the first read. You see him going through the first read, going through the second read, third read. Okay, let's go out to the fourth read, the back. Jamal Lewis, get up, positive yardage, 7, 8 yards. And it's nice to have time, and you see that the discrepancy here, the Ravens side of things and the Bengals side of things. Bengals quarterbacks haven't had time to do anything all day.
Banks 16 of 23, 156, 2 touchdowns. Ready to throw again. Down the middle, incomplete shot, the intended receiver, no flag. But how long does it take a quarterback to learn how to go through his progression like that and look off defenders?
Well, it really depends on what type of quarterback coach you have. And there's a lot of quarterback coaches in this league, and I remember talking to Bill Walsh last year. He said the problem with having top-flight quarterbacks in the league is there aren't enough top-flight quarterback coaches. And Matt Cavanaugh, the coordinator here with the Ravens, and Brian Billick have done an outstanding job with Tony Banks. And you can tell the difference. You can see he's much more relaxed. He doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't have attitude. And there's Matt Cavanaugh. He's done a great job today mixing up the plays. Great job working with Tony Banks and his mindset.
On the other sideline, Akili Smith does not have a quarterback's coach.
Well, they don't have a quarterback's coach listed. Ken Anderson there, the offensive coordinator, I know has spent a lot of time with them.
But that's the point, though, isn't it? And he's having one specific coach that can specifically work with the quarterbacks and not have to worry about the offense as well.
Well, I think it's tough right now to judge Akili Smith because you can't judge a guy when he has no time to throw. With all the sacks this year, and that's just a tough break for him.
Injury on the field, Oliver Gibson. And we will be back to Baltimore after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. And by Staples. Staples has everything you need for your business at guaranteed low prices.
24-0. Ravens, 7:19 to go here in the third quarter of play. Baltimore with the football at the Cincinnati 29 on 3rd and 6. They need to go to the 24 for a first down. Banks in trouble. Dumps it off. Nice play. Priest home. First down. A gain of 9. Tony Banks showing a little bit of elusiveness. Picks up the first.
Tony Banks looking for Shannon Sharp coming across the middle. Shannon Sharp getting held up, almost tackled. Watch Banks. Nice little sidestep, 2 in a row. Has the presence of mind to step up, get the ball to Priest Holmes, takes the shot right in the chest.
Chains continue to move now. First down at the 19. Sharp in motion. Banks. Knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Now next Saturday, Heisman hopeful Michael Vick sparks Virginia Tech against the BC Eagles, or Alex Brown and the Gators get after Mississippi State. It's the Home Depot College football begins with Volkswagen College football today, 3 p.m. Eastern. All on CBS.
Love watching Michael Vick.
Wow, can he play?
You think he's going to be in the NFL next year?
I think he has a good chance. Second down and 10 from the 19. The pitch to Lewis. And he is cut down from behind. Oliver Gibson, number 99. And Gibson, a very interesting character. We had a chance to talk to him yesterday. He went to Notre Dame. He used to be a DJ when he was in college. And when he went to Pittsburgh, he said, I want to get into the record industry. So he buys a studio. Now he owns his own independent label.
Very successful player, both on and off the field. You know some of these groups, though, Gus. Crazy, Gunna, Big Nasty. If you need to borrow any of my CDs, I'll drop them off. Kanye West. I mean, me and Kanye, we go way back.
They're down at 8 from the 17. Over the middle of the shot. Ismail with the catch at the 7. Crazy Gunna. You have that in your CD collection in Danville, California.
That's exactly right.
Very interesting. There's the Big O. And 10 tackles today, or rather 10 tackles this season, 2 sacks, both coming last week.
You know he's not going to give up. He's the heart and soul of that defense, and he's firing those guys up. Haven't had a lot of great breaks today. They've been on the field a long time. It's humid out here. It's tough enough to get worn down.
First down and goal from the 8-yard line. Jamal Lewis. Touchdown. What a run. Flag on the play, but if it stands, what an unbelievable finish.
And I think he just took half the Bengals defensive backs.
Number 62, off. 10 yards, first down.
It's Mike Flynn, third-year man, mostly on special teams a year ago.
Boy, you hate to have watch the right guard against Barnes right here. Gonna get a piece of Mike Bart, and you get your hands outside, and you get outside the shoulder pads, and you see his hand was right on the back. Boy, that's a tough call down there. And what tough running by Paul Lewis. Little Bo, as you say. Corey Hall can't bring him down. Archer Hawkins.
8 penalties, 70 yards against the Ravens. And that will back them up to the 18-yard line. Ben Coates looks wide at the top of your screen. Quadri Ismail at the bottom. And Travis Taylor is in the slot at the bottom. Priest Holmes in the backfield. Banks lets it fly for the corner. Incomplete. Sharp, the intended receiver.
Shannon Sharp just running that deep cross route right here. Get off the line of scrimmage. That's the key. Boy, you can't just let him off the line of scrimmage. Getting right back into the corner. You see the ball thrown over the defensive back just a step or two away from having another touchdown.
Looked like Banks threw that one a bit late. Second down and goal from the 18. Sharp 5 catches, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Joe and Lewis in the backfield. Banks to throw again. Flag on the play. The screen. Lewis with blockers. Lewis shredding to the 5. But let's see the flag.
And we said early in the show, when you get him involved in the passing game, that's going to open up even more of opportunities.
Offsetting penalties.
Offensive pass interference number 82. Defense offside number 92. Penalties offset. Second down.
This Brian Billick, he's fun to watch. I mean, he's kind of like Gary Williams, the head coach at the University of Maryland. He probably sweats through about 3 or 4 shirts during the game.
And you know what he's saying right now? How do you have offensive pass interference on a screenplay? Shannon Sharp just running down the field. They thought he's pushing off. He's not even getting the ball. He doesn't need to push off.
Second and goal from the 18 again, and a flag. Play clock was down to 4, but some movement on the Ravens line.
Start, 89 offense. 5 yards, second down.
And those are things, even though this has been a game dominated by the Ravens. And here's Shannon Sharp in the right corner. Let's see what he's doing. Boy, I don't see any. He had his arm out, but he didn't get anything. And sometimes you call what looks like might be happening, and it's tough to see from that angle. And that's what Brian Billick's yelling about. And now his receivers weren't set. Travis Taylor, and even though it's a flawless game from the standpoint of domination of the line of scrimmage, Brian Billick's upset.
Second goal from the 23. Priest Holmes leans inside and gets to the 17, maybe 18. Adrian Ross, number 57, with the hit. And a whistle. Injured player. And that looks like Shannon Sharp. He's grabbing his right knee.
Well, that'd be a huge blow. One of the scariest things for a player, get your knee locked up against somebody else. Watch Michael Banks and get upfield. Watch Adrian Ross grab Shannon Sharp. And right here, you see his knee get caught and can't get out of there because his ankle stepped on. And his knee just collapsed. Fortunately, Shannon Sharp walked off the field. Hope he's doing okay.
Banks sets up, dumps it, almost picked off. Banks gobbled up by John Copeland. And Sharp trying to walk it off. He's talking right now to trainer Billy Tessendorf.
And he missed a lot of last season with that collarbone injury in Denver. And while you're walking around, you see him take a deep breath. Hopefully everything's okay. It was one of those things where it could have been curtains. With that cleat stuck in the ground and your knee getting bent.
That's Stover in to attempt a 37-yarder. Low snap. Got it up. And good. Great job by Kyle Richardson to place that ball down. 37-yarder good. He already has a 30-yarder to his credit. And the Ravens take a 27-0 lead. Busy day for Jim Nantz in New York.
All right, Gus. Keyshawn Bowl action from Tampa. Said he wouldn't shake Al Groh's hand, but he's down on the field right now warming up and meeting with Chris Hayes, Dedrick Ward, Kevin Williams, some of his ex-Jet teammates, as the Battle of Unbeatens will be coming to most of you next on CBS, the Jets and the Bucs. Go back to Gus and Brett.
All right, Jim, that will be next, or Cleveland and Oakland. And Keyshawn Johnson, it must have really hurt him to be sent away from New York.
I think it did hurt him. And you know what, Gus? I think before the season's over, it's going to really hurt the Jets. It is going to really make a difference in their offensive production down the line. And they've been undefeated thus far. And let's see what happens down the road.
Clouds have rolled in to PSI Net Stadium as the Ravens roll over Cincinnati. Degrees at kickoff time. Very humid, sticky. Showers expected in the forecast. Stover sends it away deep. Griffin from the 4. And Damon Griffin up to the 31. 24-yard return. 5 undefeated teams in the National Football League. The Jets, who take on the Buccaneers today. The Giants, who face the Washington Redskins tonight. Minnesota and St. Louis. St. Louis currently leading Atlanta.
Well, I said they're all going to remain undefeated except for one team.
That would be pretty good. I think so. Especially since 2 of the teams played well. You're right. And wide guy. Over the middle, Dugan with the grab. Picks up the first down. A gain of 11. Dwayne Starks with the tackle. And the previous drive for the Ravens, 13 plays, 27 yards. And they go 27 yards, and it takes them 6:36.
Penalty City, Gus, and don't think Brian Billick's not going to hammer those guys. There's no such thing as a perfect game in the National Football League. He's going to find a lot of things to get mad at him about, I'm sure, on Monday.
The handoff, and this time it's Brandon Bennett running over the left side. The second-year man from South Carolina. The Ravens defense pitching a shutout. They shut out Pittsburgh the first game of the season at Three Rivers, 16-0. Then they got caught up in a track meet down in Jacksonville, rather here against Jacksonville, as they came back to beat the Jaguars 39-36. Tony Banks threw 5 touchdowns in the second half in that game. Play fake again, Mitchell over the middle, caught by Gross' fullback. Anthony Davis gets to him. Tonight on CBS, Kevin Spacey, Kim Basinger, Russell Crowe lead an all-star cast in the Oscar-winning crime saga that will keep you riveted. Don't miss the network premiere of LA Confidential tonight on CBS. 2 Oscar winners. Basinger won an Oscar for that. Kevin Spacey won an Oscar this past year. And Russell Crowe was nominated for an Oscar. Here's Will. Nowhere to go. That's the 45. Tim Herring.
Because we've talked about some of the things the Bengals need to do, and if you're playing the Bengals, you can just double up on the wide receivers. They haven't thrown a ball today to the tight ends, and I keep talking about that. But you've got to utilize your tight end, especially a young quarterback, Akili Smith, who's out of the game now. But the tight end has to be the outlet for him. You've got to get the tight ends more involved in this offense, more backed. Corey Dillon catching more balls, not just throwing to the wide guys all the time. It's too obvious.
Spiraling kick, angled toward the sideline, out of bounds. And the march begins. They mark it at the 18-yard line. 23 seconds to go in the third. Next Sunday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, the fastest racers on 2 wheels let her rip at speeds of up to 175 miles per hour at the wrenchhead.com Superbike Classic. A dejected bunch of Bengals on the bench. Bruce Coslett exhorting his crew to keep the faith, don't panic, stay calm. Bauman collected. Jamal Lewis up to the 22.
You know, it's one thing to be shut out one week in the NFL, and that's tough. Back-to-back weeks would be brutal. Then it would be time to panic.
Yes, you're right. And that is the end of the third quarter with the score, Baltimore 27, Cincinnati 0. We'll return to Baltimore after this word from your local station. Scoring by quarters, 10 points in the first, 14 in the second. 27-0 for the Ravens, and they take over 2nd and 6 from the 22. Play action fakes over the middle, incomplete. Jamal Lewis sees it go in and out of his hands. Here's Mike Brown, the owner, general manager, president of the Bengals.
And taking a lot of heat in Cincinnati year after year, and just haven't turned it around. And at some point, you got to change it. And there's been a lot of talk about understaffed scouting and not spending enough money and not doing that. And they've got that beautiful new stadium, but at some point, you got to put up or shut up. And the Bengals haven't been worthy of winning a whole lot of games and haven't done a whole lot here for the last 10 or 11 years, Jeff.
The worst team in the 90s with the new $400 million stadium paid for by taxpayers. Here's Tony Banks. And it's incomplete. Maynard Wilson. So the Ravens will punt it away. And this is the first punt of the game for Kyle Richardson and the Ravens.
That just speaks to the domination that we've been talking about all game, but that pretty much says it all.
Wobbly kick. Griffin from the 45. And he gets to the Ravens 45. 34-yard punt, 10-yard return. Sad day for the Bengals. 7-0 Ravens, fourth quarter. Cincy with the football at the Baltimore 46. Corey Dillon, tackled by Mike McCrary. And he loses 3. Monday on CBS, Survivor has gone back to the island. If you missed any episodes of the summer hit, you're in luck. Here's your chance to catch the television phenomenon of the year. Don't miss it. Survivor, Monday on CBS.
And Gus, Corey Dillon just walked off the field.
He's tired.
He got hit in the backfield 3 yards deep.
He's frustrated.
You know, I respect the young man. He's a great player, but you can never walk off the field and let your teammates down. He's going to regret that.
And the Bengals call timeout. The Bengals coming unhinged here in Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper butler. Dr. Pepper makes the world taste better. Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular. And by Doc. In a perfect world, everything would be different.
Back in Baltimore, 2nd and 12 from the 48. Scott Mitchell into the flats, and he finds Nick Williams, backup fullback, out of bounds inside the 40. And a nasty exchange taking place between Corey Dillon and Bruce Coslet. Check it out.
And you can feel the frustration. You watch Michael McCrary, Jamie Sharper in the backfield. Nowhere for Corey Dillon to run. He's going to get up, fired up, watch him throw the ball down. He just say, you know what, enough is enough. And it's frustrating. And this young man is all about emotion. That's part of what makes him great. You can see Bruce Coslet. Corey, get back on the field.
Corey with some words for his head coach. 3rd and 2. Dillon again. Cuts it back in, and he will not get the first down. And here's Jim Nantz in New York.
All right, Gus, first play of the fourth quarter. Cordell Stewart comes in, goal line situation, down 7, and he's up and over to tie the game with Tennessee. Let's go back to Gus and Brent.
Cordell getting up and over, and boy, that is dangerous. I know he wanted a touchdown, but you carry it up there like a loaf of bread. All somebody has to do is smack that thing. But the Steelers got what they wanted. He's back in it.
Steelers 0-2, losing last week at Cleveland. 4th down and 2. Cincinnati going for it. Here's Mitchell rolling. He's got the first down as he gets out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Takes a shot from McAllister. Needed 2, got 3.
You see Bruce Coslett, he's getting a little frustrated over there, but he got the first down, and this is a fake. Nobody expects Scott Mitchell to be running all the way on the naked boot, and that's exactly what he's doing, and he had a lot of yards. They're not gaining ground. Scott, get upfield.
And once again, yesterday when we talked to Bruce Coslett, he told us that his main focus for this week and the rest of the season is for his players to stay calm and refuse to panic. Underneath, Williams with the sack.
And Gus, you even asked him, you said, hey, how much longer? Why do you want to do this? What's going on? Isn't it getting to you? And he said he wouldn't do this if he didn't want to do it. He's really been having fun. He said coaching these young players, they're eager, they're all ears. They're like sponges soaking up the information, and this is a young team. But I think Coach Coslett probably should have kept Corey Dillon on the bench for a series, to be honest with you. Because Corey came off the field, and you've got to say, Corey's a leader. He's a 4th-year guy now. He's got to be a leader. He can't let his motion get to him like that in the course of the game.
2nd and 10. Dillon. Nowhere to run. McAllister wraps him up. Anthony Davis hit on the play, making first contact.
And you see the Bengals aren't even taking big shots in the passing game. They can't pass protect long enough to take a 7-step drop. It's all quick passes or runs. And you can see a little bit why Corey Dillon's been a little frustrated.
Jamal Lewis on the sideline. In a much better situation. And here we go, 3rd down and 9 from the 34 for the Bengals. Danny Palmer, number 83 in the game. He's in the slot on the top of your screen. Mitchell. Dugan drops the football. McAllister covered. Would have been a tough catch, but a catchable ball.
And it was a catchable ball. And you see Mitchell hang in there and throw it on the inside shoulder away from the defensive back. That's what you learn to do as a quarterback. And
Healy Smith in street clothes now. He suffered a mild concussion after getting drilled by Rob Burnett. 4th down and 9 for the Bengals from the Ravens 34. They need to go to the 25. Mitchell in trouble. Breaks contained. Looking. Incomplete. Farmer, the intended receiver, can't hold on, but a flag is on the play. Mike Goff gets up limping. And he was wrapped up in some kind of battle with Sam Adams. And Adams, he's listed at 6'3", 330. But he's a little heavier than 330. 11:30 to go, 4th quarter. Back to Baltimore after this. 7-0, 11:30 to go in the 4th quarter of play. Don't forget, coming up next, some of you will see the big game, the Jets in Tampa or Cleveland at Oakland. Banks pump fake, and he throws it to the sideline. Now, why is Tony Banks still in the game? Up 27-0 here in the 4th quarter with 11:24 to go.
I don't know. That's a good question. They ought to have him out. What I want to know is they're killing the Bengals, and they just ran a double move play where Banks hitched and wanted his receiver to go deep. And I mean, that's a touchdown if Taylor actually takes off and goes deep. And a little miscommunication there. He's giving the Bengals a break at this point.
Draw play, Lewis. Breaks it back, gets to the 39. A great opportunity for the Ravens offense to continue to fine-tune. They have Cleveland next week at Cleveland, and as we saw last week, the Browns have improved a great deal there in Oakland this weekend. And the next 5 games for the Ravens, very difficult. All 3 of them, 3 of the next 5 rather, on the road. At Cleveland, at Jacksonville, then right down the road at Washington. followed by Tennessee and Pittsburgh here.
How about 6 of their next 7 versus division opponents? This stretch of the season is going to be make or break for this Ravens football team.
On 3rd and 5, Banks. Oh, what a strike to Lewis. This time Jermaine Lewis. He picked up 7. Tony Banks putting that one on a line. Tony Banks, the big, strong-arm quarterback from California, played at Michigan State. And I tell you, catching that one is like trying to put your hands on a cheese grater. A lot of spin on that football.
I haven't done that lately. How does that feel?
Banks, 19 of 33, 182, 2 touchdowns. Play action. Tony down the sideline. He's got Patrick Johnson. Incomplete.
And they aren't calling off the dogs, are they?
No, they aren't. Tonight on CBS, how did Baku and the former Soviet Union get to be an American boomtown? It's the oil. Find oil and you'll find American oilmen. Tonight on 60 Minutes, then Kevin Spacey, Kim Basinger, Russell Crowe lead an all-star cast in the Oscar-winning crime saga that will keep you riveted. Don't miss the network premiere of LA Confidential. It's all tonight on CBS. Second down 10 from the 46. Lewis brings it outside, accelerates, and picks up the first down. Jamal Lewis. A gain of 12. And he's getting close to that 100-yard mark.
Watch the push from Jamal Lewis's line right here. Huge hole opened up on the right side. Spencer Falau, 71, the right tackle there.
And an injured player on the field is Armigas Spearman, the middle linebacker. And back to Baltimore after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Coors. When you're an original, you do it your own way. Original Coors. And by Charles Schwab. When we created a smarter kind of investment firm, we also created a smarter kind of investor.
Jamal Lewis, 23 carries, 107 yards and a TD, his first 100-yard game as a pro. And the Ravens have it in good field position on top 27-0. There he is, taking his spot as the deep back. Inside handoff, Ian Badejo. And Armigas Spearman, starting middle linebacker, hurt himself on the last play.
Just watch his right arm come underneath and get landed on by Jamal Lewis. That's what it's like to play linebacker. Totally exposed, open shoulder, 235 pounds. Right on it, and that's got to hurt. You can see him stretching it out there on the sideline. I'm lucky that thing wasn't dislocated.
Second down and 10 from the Cincinnati 42. Then goes in motion, play action, quick strike, finds Ian Badejo all the way down the sideline to the 25, and a flag on the play. Will be a face mask. Gain of 14. Billy Granville in for Spearman.
Personal foul, 15-yard face mask foul, 52 defense, 15 yards, half the distance to the goal line, first down.
I guess you're going to see Ian Badejo coming out of the backfield. Little play action fake. That holds the linebackers. That gives you room to run. You see him catching out there in the sideline. Little stiff arm. Watch Granville. Now, when you go ahead and rip that helmet and twist the head, that's when they call the 15-yarders. When your hand's up there by accident, that's one thing. But they keep it up there, and he kept it on. And you know when you hang on to it that long, it's intentional. 15 yards every time.
So a first down. Deep inside Cincinnati territory. Tony Banks again. Incomplete. Intended for Patrick Johnson. Johnson, the speedy second-year receiver out of Oregon, make it third-year receiver out of Oregon. He was a track man while playing in Eugene. And Tony Banks doing a really solid job. He's hit 9 different receivers. Shannon Sharp out of the game. He has a right knee contusion. On the sideline, caught a touchdown today. 2nd and 10 from the 14. Travis Taylor in motion. Lewis squares his shoulders. A lot of contact inside the 10.
Pads popping.
And Corey Hall, better known as Bobby Boucher, held his ground. I tell you what, he'll hit you, man.
He will hit you.
He will hit you. And Jamal Lewis taking most of that hit.
Yeah, no use in at this point keeping your star rookie in the game. Just total domination of the game, and you don't want to take a chance of an injury here. Frustrated Bengal team. You got to get your starters off the field as soon as possible.
3rd and 5 from the 9. Banks on a slant. Incomplete. Patrick Johnson, the intended receiver. Flag on the play, and Tom Carter covering, and it's going to be against Cincinnati.
Defensive pass interference, 21.
And that is the 2nd or 3rd interference or holding call against Carter today.
Carter known for his tight coverage, and it's been tough for him. He's had a couple calls go against him today. Sometimes you get away with those. And he's frustrated playing that slant. He knows it's coming. He's been a veteran. He knows that thing's coming down here in the red zone, and just jumped a little early.
Dick LeBeau, a pretty good defensive back in his own right when he was a player, played for Detroit. Lewis again looking for the end zone, and he gets all the way down to the 1. Lewis told us yesterday when we spoke to him that he was happy that Ryan Billick and the offensive coaches worked him in slowly. He said that he thinks it helped him more than it hurt him. And he said he prides himself on playing physical football. And he delivered a block last week against Miami. He almost knocked a linebacker into next week.
D. Cleater. Cleats are off the ground, back hit first.
2nd and goal from the 1. Lewis territory. Inside handoff. Ryan Badejo. Touchdown. Everybody getting in on the act. And the Ravens take a 33-0 lead. Obafemi Badejo, the former Viking, with the touchdown. The extra point is down, it's up, and it's good. 34-0. And look, another sensational drive. 11 plays, almost 5 minutes for the Ravens. There it is, 4:51 covering 66 yards. And Obafemi with the 1-yard plunge.
Watch the line, sure. Obafemi getting an opportunity to get inside right now. Contact, keep those legs driving. You see the push. And he's a little fired up after the touchdown.
Special teams getting pumped up. Obafemi, Badejo.
Sharing the wealth. Remember what I said in the first quarter? It's a free-for-all. Everybody wants a piece.
Everybody.
Give me the ball. Let me score. We're rolling.
Fans on their feet here. They have been delighted by their team's performance. Damon Griffin wrapped up at the 21. Anthony Poindexter here at PSI Net Stadium, one of the most beautiful and modern stadiums in the National Football League. And yesterday, though, Up the road a bit at Memorial Stadium, the old home of the Colts and Baltimore Orioles. They were having a seat sale. Proceeds go to charity, $150 per seat. You can take one of those bad boys home. They will be tearing down Old Memorial Stadium sometime next month. And Johnny Unitas, one of the greatest to ever walk on the field, made his living in that Memorial Stadium. Bengals run it. They get up to the 25. Don't forget, coming up next, some of you will see the big Keyshawn Bowl, Jets from Tampa. Others will see Cleveland take on the Oakland Raiders.
We've seen those Cleveland Browns spread the ball around in their offense this year, and what has it done for them? Tim Couch looking like an all-pro early in the season.
And the Ravens will play those Browns next week in Cleveland, and talking about a grudge match. That certainly will be one. 2nd and 6. Flag on the play. The illegal shift. While they're marching it off, Tennessee, Pittsburgh going at it. Here's Jim Nantz in New York.
And how about the Steelers coming back from last week's loss to Cleveland? And they may stun, in fact, the Tennessee Titans. They've taken the lead. The bus is in. And the Steelers have the lead midway forward. Go back to Gus and Brett.
All right, Jim, Kevin Dyston out for the season with that injured knee. Steve McNair with the bruised sternum. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers win and if the Baltimore Ravens win, the Central will look like this. Baltimore 3-1.
Tennessee will have another loss up there, too, and they're going to find out it's tough getting back to the dance when everybody's expecting you.
2nd and 11 from the 21. And Mitchell wisely gets rid of it. Rod Jones, number 60, on his backside once again, and he has been manhandled today. Saragusa, Sam Adams, and combined, let's see, how good is your math, Brent? Sam Adams, well, Saragusa rather, is 6'3", 340. Adams is 6'3", 330, and those are very, very modest measurements.
I'm going to round up to about 700.
That may be 700 pounds easy.
I'm calling it 700. They can call it what they want in the book.
Big Sam, there he is. His father, Sam Adams Sr., played for New England and New Orleans. 3rd and 11. They need to get to the 32. Underneath, Dugan, incomplete. Kid Herring right in his pocket. And Rod Woodson thought he had another interception. He has one today already.
And this Ravens defense wants the shutout. You can't believe how great it feels to get a shutout. Defenses don't want to give up that easy score at the end of the game. On the other side of the ball, this Bengal team, Gus, they need to score some points. They got shut out last week. It's tough, like I said, to get shut out one week, but 2 in a row will really put you down.
Only had 7 points against the Cleveland Browns their opening day. Jermaine Lewis from the 45 gets up to the Cincinnati 41, 34-yard punt, 15-yard return. And the next 5 games for the Cincinnati Bengals doesn't get any easier. They're at home against Miami and Tennessee. Then they travel to Pittsburgh, followed by games at home against Denver and Cleveland.
And Gus, I'm not going to say it looks bad for the Bengals, but they won't be anywhere close to favored in any of those games.
So Tony Banks out of the game, and the new quarterback, rookie Chris Redmond, under center now, 3rd-round pick out of Louisville. And this is his first career NFL snap. When he pitches it, 3 stones. And 3 stones. Out of bounds, that's the 30. Darrell Williams ushering him out of bounds. Chris Redmond, 6'3", 223. Started his collegiate career at Illinois, then transferred to Louisville.
Had a solid preseason for the Ravens.
Tony Banks. Here's your man. This is your future right here. Signed a 4-year extension. 20 of 36, 196, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. They will go as far as Banks can take a fumble on the play. Ben Coates wraps it up. Sam Gash running the football. As you look at other scores, Miami 10-3, 108 to go in the fourth. New England having problems. They can't score. They can't block. Bill Belichick is pulling out his hair.
99 defense, 5 yards.
St. Louis up big now on Atlanta. I tell you what, Brent, the Rams just have another year. They have 2 or 3 other years.
They really do. And that is something their defense is going to be the only thing that holds them back this year, I think. The Niners scoring some points and actually playing some defense against the Cowboys.
First down, 5. Priest Holmes again. Look at the great footwork. Priest Holmes. Very nice. Corey Hall with the tackle.
And don't count out Priest Holmes in this whole equation. Catching the ball out of the backfield, nice cutback runner. You see him see the ball back to the inside, cuts back, a double cutback, juke the loop, and he's running. He's hard. Man, I'm telling you, that was quite a move. That was a Barry Sanders type of move, cutting back one way and then cutting immediately back the other way. Not a whole lot of guys that can do that.
Holmes has 7 carries for 43 yards. Play action, Redmond first pass. Oh, what a catch by Taylor! He went up high and came down with it. Travis Taylor, the 10th overall pick out of Florida, with an 11-yard acrobatic grab.
And you'll see Travis Taylor come into your screen, run the square out pattern, watch him sell it inside, watch him jump early and hang in the air. Wow, at first I thought he was jumping a little bit too early, but he just hung up there.
Travis Taylor gets the Ravens down to the 1-yard line. He has 3 catches, 25 yards. Good ahead. No signal yet. And I believe Redmond will be short. The Bengals getting a little hostile.
And you know what?
Ravens running it up on him right now.
That's exactly right. And they're feeling disrespected. They hadn't played well today, but they feel like the Ravens are running it up, and guys are getting frustrated. Steve Foley pushing and shoving in there. And this is where you got to have your head on a swivel. If you're in there, you have your head on a swivel because guys are coming for you from the Bengals. You better be ready. And they're going to remember this the next time they play it, although the way the Bengals have been playing it might not matter.
The Ravens have defeated the Bengals 4 straight times.
They play again on November 5th. That ought to give the Bengals time to regroup, I think.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 33 offense, 15 yards first down.
Priest Holmes.
And Brian Billick's mad. He thinks Cincinnati started and Priest Holmes got caught. There was the first push. And Priest Holmes is right in the middle of that. And there's Corey Hall taking Priest Holmes. Now, how do you call that on Priest Holmes? I still haven't seen anything yet. Okay, he's getting his face mask grabbed with 3 Bengals on him, and he isn't doing anything, and they throw the flag. Priest Holmes getting a raw deal right there. And that's what Brian Billick thinks. If anything, offsetting. And that's what Brian Billick wants to know. How can you call it on my guy? He's getting his face mask grabbed. The other team started it. They're mad because we're running up the score. You can't call it on my guy. And that's the first time I've ever seen a guy ahead 34-0 just chew out an official.
It seems as if Coach Billick is now playing for his fans here in the stadium. This game over. What's the point of being upset right now?
You know what it says to your team? It says we're going to fight every minute of every game no matter what.
So here we go. Ravens backed up to the 15.
With some of that, you might see the Ravens go ahead and throw the ball now. That'd be pouring salt in the wound.
Here's the handoff. Return. Wrapped up by Steve Foley.
Priest home, get a lot of those yards back. And you just have to remember, Gus, this team got manhandled versus Miami, and Brian Billick was upset, and it was a tough week for the Ravens. They have to show some attitude. This is a pivotal game for them, even though it's against the Bengals. And he's showing his team he's going to fight tooth and nail to the end of the game.
Empty backfield. Redmond sprints out. Lofts it in the back of the end zone. Incomplete. He did not have 2 feet inbounds. Patrick Johnson. Nice effort.
One heck of an effort. You're going to see Patrick Johnson stand in the back of the end zone looking like he's fair catching a punt, trying to keep his feet in bounds right to the last second. Just can't keep him in. Great catch, though. And that is pouring salt in the wound. When you're ahead 34-0 and you're shoving it down their throat and throwing on second down here at the end of the game with just a couple minutes left. There's going to be some bad blood between these guys all year.
Third and goal. Redmond on the slant. Taylor, he's at the 1-inch line. Travis Taylor did not get in.
And it looks like the Ravens are calling off the dogs. They're bringing on the field goal team. Here's the end of the play, and I didn't think he got it either. He's down, knees down right there. Good call by the official. And they're not going for the touchdown. That's their way of saying, okay, we'll give you guys a break. And Chris Medvin, he wants to go for that touchdown. Almost had his first touchdown pass.
2:01 remaining. Back to Baltimore after this. Wait a minute. There is a review underway.
And I'm sure Brian
Billick got in.
Brian Billick going for that review. But it was clearly the correct call by the officiating staff.
Baltimore is challenging the ruling on the field that it is not a touchdown.
Man, you talk about pouring it on. Challenging. Up 34-0 with 2 minutes left.
What's the point, though, if you're Brian Billick to rub it in like this?
Well,
obviously you're taking on an inferior team.
You know what? Your players love that.
Do they really?
Yeah.
They like to run it up and rub it in on other teams.
Sure they do. Because you know what? The opportunities are so rare. But at this point, I just let it go. And he's been screaming and yelling and fired up. And as a player, you like your coach to be into the game. You want him to be involved. And you want him to be aggressive. But, I mean, the Bengals have already been humiliated.
After reviewing the play, it is not a touchdown. The runner is down short of the goal line. That's a timeout for Baltimore. It's 4th down at the 1-yard line.
I'm just glad they're going for the field goal here. You know what, Gus? They don't even need to score more points. Just flop on the ball, huh? I think the Ravens have already made their point today, partner.
I think they have.
And you don't need to kick more points. Just fall on the ball.
Well, they're going to line up and kick it. We are at the 2-minute warning. And welcome back to PSI Net Stadium here in downtown Baltimore. A complete wipeout for the Ravens, 34-0 with 2 minutes to go. And Brian Billick on the right with a big smile. Bruce Coslin on the left. And you wonder what the handshake after the game will be like.
Yeah, you want to make an enemy for life. Pour it on at the end of the game.
Brian Billick has certainly done that needlessly. $37-0. And some of the greatest tight ends in the history of the sport in the building today. Ozzie Smith, who runs the player personnel department for the Ravens.
The great Ozzie Newsome. Drafting all those defensive players. Shannon Sharp, look at that, on the list. Trying to surpass his boss.
How about that?
There you go. Look at Ben Coates, he's coming up there.
And who's number 4? Look at that.
Is that all I am? 14?
14.
Who are those guys down the
But I bet you if they included playoff catches and touchdowns, you'd be right up there.
Yeah, you're right.
They don't Super Bowl rings.
They don't count that stuff.
There's Shannon. Won 2 Super Bowls with the Denver Broncos. Has a right knee contusion. Looks to be okay, though.
Hey, how about if you're John Jones, the third-string tight end? Your buddies are saying, hey, how come you're not playing? You know, it's one thing to say, yeah, the guy in front of me is a Hall of Famer. How about the 2 guys in front of me are going to be Hall of Famers?
Poor like John Jones. He's only a rookie. Well, don't forget, coming up next is the Jets and Tampa Bay, or Cleveland and Oakland.
Call it the Keyshawn Bowl, but don't forget about the Testaverde Bowl.
I don't know. I don't know about the Jets. They've been they've been a little lucky this season. Well, they've had some things really go their way.
They have, but part of being a good team is being lucky as well, as you know. But I do agree with you, partner. I think down the line, trading Keyshawn is going to be a big mistake. Teams are going to figure out how to defend them, and you're not going to draw that double coverage that Keyshawn took and open up all your other players, and it's going to be tough to move that ball as the season progresses. It'll be interesting to see how that comes out.
Matt Stover tees it up. Damon Griffin back deep. 1:57 to go. And Griffin from the 4. Gets to the 20, flag on the play. And a hold against Cincinnati.
During the return, holding number 52 of the receiving team.
Wow, even the officials won't give him a break.
Adrian Ross. And look at the distribution. Shannon Sharp, Reese Holmes, Travis Taylor, Ian Badejo, Jermaine Lewis with a couple of grabs, Jamal Lewis with a couple of grabs.
You see, everybody's in the mix. Everybody's excited about being involved in the offense. Everybody's making a contribution. It's great for a team's morale going into your next game.
This is Farmer. Danny Farmer with the reception. And the clock continues to run.
And the only way the Bengals can rate on this parade right now is to score some points. And I guarantee you Bruce Coslet wants to score real bad.
Coslet continues to coach, refusing to give up. Brandon Bennett reverses his field. Nowhere to go. Mike McCrary waiting for him. And the Bengals, they have not won on the road versus a winning team since 1990 at Pittsburgh.
Ouch. That's only 10 and a half years of futility on the road.
And the previous largest margin of victory in the history of the Ravens, 41-9 against Cleveland last season. That will be surpassed today. Underneath is Nick Williams with 33 seconds to go.
These guys aren't even getting on the ball. They're not even trying to score. They're not going to even try. They're just going to let it run out. Geez, I don't understand that. You get the ball back at the end of the game, take some shots.
They are a defeated team, Brent.
That's a defeatist personality.
They are a defeated team.
You don't even try. Have you ever seen a team run out the clock when they've been shut out? Come on, you guys got to do better than that.
Bruce Coslet heading off the field. He refuses to shake Brian Billick's hand as he heads into the locker room. Billick chasing him down.
Yeah, that's no surprise.
No pleasantries there. Brian Billick and the Ravens running up the score 37-0. They improved to 3-1 on the season. And Cincinnati 0-3. So Brent Jones, this is Gus Johnson saying so long from Baltimore, where the Ravens defeat the Bengals 37-0. Coming up next, stay tuned for game 2 of our doubleheader. It's either the New York Jets at Tampa or Cleveland at Oakland. Big game for the Ravens. Jamal Lewis over 100 yards in his first start at home. Another solid outing by Tony Banks. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 35.